Good morning, dear students. Today, we're going to start speaking about the passive. Our objectives in this lesson are, number one, to differentiate between active and passive. We need to know what is the difference between active sentences and passive sentences. Number two, we need to know when do we use the passive sentences. Last thing, we need to change sentences into passive, from active into passive sentences. Look at these two examples. Number one, Tom painted the entire house. Tom is the subject of the sentence. Painted is the verb. The entire house is the object of the sentence. So, if I ask you, who is the subject? Who is the doer of the action? Who did painting? You can say, Tom did this. So we know who did the action. We know who is the doer of the action. Because of this, it is active sentence. Look at sentence number two. The entire house was painted by Tom. The entire house originally is the object of the sentence. Was painted is the verb. By Tom is the agent. Okay. Now, look at this passive sentence. It starts with object. It doesn't start with the subject. So we call it passive. In easy words, we can differentiate between active and passive through the structure of the sentence. If the sentence starts with the doer of the action or the subject, it is active. If the sentence starts with the object, it is passive sentence. We can change sentences from active into passive, whatever the tense. For example, we can change the present simple, the past simple, the present future, even the future tenses or the future tenses. But in our lesson today, we're going to concentrate only on changing these two tenses, the present simple and the past simple, from active into passive. Before we start our practical practice, we need to know when do we use passive? The passive structure of the sentence is used if you don't know who is the doer of the action or who does the verb, who does the action. For example, the window was broken. If I ask you, who broke the window? You can't tell. We don't know. So we don't know who did the action, so we made a passive passive sentence. Another use for passive, if we concentrate on the action itself more than the doer of the action. For example, the house was destroyed. You can see that the sentence starts with the house, which is the object, and this is the verb. So this sentence is passive. But why did I use the passive? Easily, because the most important thing is the action itself. Destroying the house is more important than what did this destruction, whether it is a bomb or an earthquake, it doesn't matter. The most important thing for me as speaker is the action, that the house is or was destroyed. So easily we can use the passive if I don't know who is the doer of the action, or if I concentrate more on the action itself, not the subject or not the doer of the action. Don't forget that we use the passive sentences in formal languages, and in scientific language, which is we are going to concentrate on in writing the essay about process. So we use the passive to write formal essays about how things are made, which we are going to concentrate on. We said that if we want to write a process, we mainly use present simple and past simple. We use present simple in process more than past simple, but these two tenses actually are very important, and they are very easy to change from active into passive. So in this video, this lesson, we're gonna to start with how to change present simple sentences and past simple sentences into passive sentences. Before I start changing the sentences, I would just want to remind you with the verb be. You know this. It is are, am, and the past is was, been, past participle, were, been, was, and been. It is very important to know the verbs of be, and you should know also that is, are, am are used with present, was, were are used in the past, and been is used in the past participle. This is very important because one step in changing sentences from active into passive is to use one of these verbs: is, are, am, was, were, or been, and so on. Now let's start with present simple. Don't forget that we always need to refer back to verb to be in each of our sentences. So number one is present simple sentence. I'm going to have an example on the board. Now we start with this example. People make cars in Japan. First of all, is this sentence active or passive? You can easily say that it is active because we have here the subject and we have here the verb. Cars is the object. In Japan is adverb of place. Now, how to change this sentence from active? So this sentence we said it is active. How can we change this sentence from active into passive? First step, we take the object of the sentence and put it at the very beginning of the sentence. So, cars. And be careful that we have some changes here. We have to start with capital letters since it is at the beginning of the sentence. So step number 1, we take the object and put it at the very beginning of the sentence. Step number 2 is very important. Step number 2 is very important because we need to choose suitable helping verb from verb to be. Remember, I spoke about this a few minutes ago. And this helping verb must suit both the object and the verb. How? I ask myself, is the object singular or plural? Cars, plural. Question number 2. Is the verb present, past, or past participle? It is present, so it is verb 1. If you remember, we use is, are, am in the present, and we use only are with plural nouns. So the suitable helping verb is are. So cars are. Step number 3. This is very important. Step number 3. The verb in the sentence must be in past participle. So we have make, made, made. So cars are made. Cars are made. And I complete the sentence, of course, in Japan. I repeat. Step number 1. You take the object at the very beginning of the sentence. Then you choose suitable helping verb from verb to be. And step number 3 is to put the verb in the past participle, or in case number 3. So can we reach a rule how to change sentences from active into passive in the present simple? So this is the rule. If you want to change a sentence from active into passive, you start with object plus, step number 2, you choose one suitable helping verb. It could be is, are, or am. And step number 3 is to put the verb in past participle, or case 3, and then you complete the sentence. This is the main rule. Let's have another example about this. Example, Ali writes a letter every day. So first, Ali, we can say that Ali is the subject, writes is the verb, a letter is the object of the sentence, and every day, of course, is adverb of time. Now we start changing this sentence. Since we have Ali at the beginning, the doer of the action at the beginning of the sentence, that means this sentence is active. Now we need to change this sentence into passive. Step number one, as we said, we start with the object. What is the object of the sentence? A letter. So we start with a letter. Step number two, we need to choose one of these three helping verbs, is, are, or am. Of course, a letter is singular, and the verb is verb 1. So the best one is. So we write is. A letter is. Step number three is the verb, the main verb, to be in the past participle. The verb write, the past is wrote, past participle is written. So a letter is written, and you complete the sentence every day. You can add by Ali, or it is optional. Now we move to the second part, which is how to change the past simple sentences into passive. Let's have a sentence. We have taken this sentence. The window, sorry for inconvenience. I'll take a sentence like the boy broke the window. Do we know the subject of the verb, the subject of the sentence? Yes, it is the boy. So the boy is the subject, and broke is the verb, and the window is the object. So this sentence is active sentence, since we have the subject at the very beginning of the sentence. Now we need to change this sentence into passive. The same rule. We start with the object at the very beginning of the sentence. Sorry, again. We start with the object at the very beginning of the sentence. The window, start with capital letter. Step number one. And now, step number two, to choose a suitable helping verb, I ask myself, the window, singular or plural? It is singular. Now, what about the verb? Broke. Broke is in the past. So I need a helping verb that is used in the past and suitable with singular. And the best one is was. So this is step number 2. Last step is the verb must be in the past participle. So we write break, broke, and the past participle is broken. The window was broken. This is a passive sentence since we start with the object of the sentence. Can we reach the rule now? How to change a simple past sentence from active into passive? The rule says you start with the object, then you need a helping verb, was or were. Step number 3, you put the verb in the past participle. This is the rule of changing sentences from active into passive if they are in the past simple tense. Now, you need more practice actually about this. So you can go to, I'm going to give you a website, and you have many exercises about this. So you just go to Google and write active, passive sentences. Or you can write exercises on passive sentences. Many websites are going to give you many exercises about passive. You have to practice, and then in the coming video we're going to complete about the passive of the other forms or tenses. For now, thank you very much and have fun.